At just 8 years old, I already knew the weight of a grown man's body on mine. I knew the taste of fear mixed with pain, and I carried that secret like a bag of salt on my head for 4 long years until the virus almost carried me to my grave. Hi besties, you're welcome to my channel, and if this is your first time here, my name is Pressy Patricks. Here I read out true life stories about people's experience. So if this is what you love, please consider subscribing to my channel, like this video, share with your loved ones, and remember to turn on the notification bell so that whenever I post you get notified. Okay, now let's get right into the story. For context, you can call me Linda. I'm 24 years old now. I'm trying to survive one day at a time. But the story I'm about to tell you happened. Yes, it really happened. It wasn't made up. I won't call the name of the place. In one of those tight face me I face you compounds where everybody knows everybody's business. Yet nobody really knows the pain behind closed doors. I've held this secret like hot coal in my chest. Even my closest sister doesn't know everything. But today I am tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of hating myself in silence. My father was a tall, dark-skinned man with strong arms from years of driving buses. He woke up every single morning by 4 a.m. Sometimes he came back by 10 p.m. bone tired, smelling of sweat and fuel. My mother was a strong woman. She sold provisions at my 12 markets. She left even earlier, around 3 a.m. to beat the rush and get the best prices for her goods. By the time I was 8, I had already become the real mother in our house. I became the second madam of the house. We were 3 children. I had one brother who was 6 at the time, always running around with his football made of socks and rubber bands. And my little sister, just 3 years old, who still cried for breast even though my mother has stopped breastfeeding her. Every morning it was the same routine for me. I would wake up in our one-room apartment, light the kerosene stove carefully so it wouldn't explode like it did for our neighbor last year. I boiled water for pap or made garri with the soup my mom left in the pot. I bathed my siblings in the small bathroom we shared with other 6 families in the compound. Cold water in the morning because there was never time to boil hot water. We were always late for school. I would comb my brother's hair, put powder on my little sister's body, ironed their school uniforms with the old charcoal iron we had, and made sure they ate before walking them to the nearby government school. Neighbors used to praise my mom, telling her I am so responsible. She's just 8 but behaving like she's 20. I would smile shyly, but inside I was screaming. I wanted to be a child too. I wanted to play with other girls, jump rope, or watch Nollywood films on television when there was light. My parents were just trying to survive. They loved us the only way they knew how, by providing food and shelter, even if it meant leaving me to carry the load. Our compound was a typical public compound, loud, smelling of pepper soup, firewood smoke and open gutters. And right opposite our door was our neighbor's room. I'll call him Uncle Dan. Uncle Dan was about 30 years old then or more. I don't really know his exact age. A bachelor who worked at a filling station nearby. He was light-skinned, always neat in his shirt, and had this easy smile that made everyone trust him. He had a small shop in front of his room where he sold pure water, sweets, cigarettes, and small provisions. My parents trusted him completely. Dan is a good man, my father would always say, praising him. If anything happens, just call him for help. He would always tell me sometimes. My mom would even give him money to watch us when both of them were out. The first time Uncle Dan started abusing me, I went to his room to collect a bucket of water he promised us because our tap was not running that day. It was a Saturday morning. My mom had left very early. My dad was at work. My brother and sisters were playing outside. Linda, come inside, let me give you the bucket, he called with that smile, that evil smile. As soon as I entered his room, he locked the door behind me. My heart started beating fast. He sat on the bed and pulled me close. You are becoming a big girl now, he whispered. His hands went under my skirt. I froze. I didn't understand what was happening. I was just confused, but I knew what he was doing was wrong, very wrong. He touched me in places that made me feel uncomfortable and ashamed. When I started crying, He covered my mouth gently. "If you tell anybody what happened, I will kill you and your whole family. I know where your father parks his bus every night. I will make sure I kill everybody in your family," he said, putting fear in my body. I was just 8, small, scared and gullible. I nodded. He gave me 100 naira and some sweets for my siblings. Buy them something so they won't disturb. That was how it all started. At first, it was touching. He would call me almost every time my parents had left. Sometimes in the afternoon when I came back from school. Sometimes at night when my parents were not back yet. The pain was there, but the fear of death for my family was bigger. I started having nightmares. I would wake up sweating, checking if my brother and sister were still breathing. By the time I turned 9, things got worse. He started sleeping with me properly. The first time I thought I was going to die from the pain. I bit my lip so hard it bled. I couldn't walk well the next day. My mom asked what happened. I lied and said I fell down while playing. She rubbed balm on my body and told me to be careful next time. I hated my body. I hated the smell of Okudan's cheap perfume that would always be on me after. I started washing myself with harsh soap until my skin peeled, but the shame never left. When I was 10, Uncle Dan started inviting 2 of his friends to sleep with me too. One was a conductor, loud and rough. The other was a mechanic, always with grease on his arms. They would come in the evening, drink beer and take turns with me because they know my parents were never home. Sometimes all 3 in one night. I became their small toy. They would laugh and say this girl is sweet, while I cried inside. I stopped eating well. I became quiet in school. My teacher noticed and asked if everything was okay at home. I said yes. Every night I prayed, "God, please kill me or kill them, but save my family." But God seemed far away. In church on Sundays, I would sit at the back and cry during praise and worship. But nobody knew why. They thought I was just a serious child. The red flags were there, but nobody saw. I started having small infections down there. My mom would buy Flagyl and other drugs from the chemist without asking too many questions. Children of nowadays, they do get toilet infection early, she would say. I endured the pain without telling anybody what was happening. By 11, I was like a ghost in my own life. I took care of my siblings perfectly on the outside, but inside, I was dying. My brother would ask me, "Linda, why don't you smile again?" I would tell him I was tired from house chores. My sister would climb on my lap and I would hold her tight, praying no one ever abused her the way they abused me. Then at 12, my body started breaking down completely. I was always tired. Fever came and refused to go. My skin became dry like paper. I lost so much weight that my uniform started hanging on me like it belonged to someone else. I couldn't eat. Even my favorite jollof rice made me vomit. My mom and dad thought it was malaria. They kept buying all sorts of drugs from the pharmacy near the junction. Lonats, Amatem, you name it. "Drink this one, it's the strongest," my mom would say, forcing the bitter tablets down my throat with herbal medicine at once. But I kept getting worse. I started missing school. Neighbors started whispering that it was something spiritual, maybe that I'm having a spiritual attack. My own aunt even suggested that I was pregnant. The shame was killing me faster than the sickness. One night, the fever was so high, I started seeing things. I thought Uncle Dan and his friends were in the room again. I screamed. My dad carried me on his back like a baby and rushed me outside for fresh air. That was when they decided enough was enough. They borrowed money from every possible place, family, friends, even from church members. They took me to a proper hospital, not the local chemist. The journey in the bus was hell. Every bump on the road felt like knives in my body. The doctor, a kind middle-aged man, ran several tests. When the results came back, he called my parents into his office first. I was lying on the bed, weak, when I heard my mother scream from the other room. It was a sound I will never forget, like an animal in pain. They came out crying. My dad looked like someone had drained all the blood from his body. He was so angry. My mom could not believe her ears and kept on doubting the medical results. My father came close to me and was screaming at me, asking me the person that has been abusing me. But I kept quiet and was too scared to talk because Uncle Dan would kill me and my family if I told anyone. I just kept on crying and telling my parents and the doctor nobody was abusing me. The hospital that day was hot, as even the patients all came out to listen to what was happening. Thinking of how a girl my age could be HIV positive. God. The doctor then took me alone into his office. He held my small hands in his big ones and spoke softly, like a father. Linda, my daughter, you are safe here. No one can hurt you anymore. The test shows you are HIV positive and you've been sexually active. You have been carrying this for a long time. Please, tell me the truth. Who has been sexually abusing you? I promise I will protect you. For the first time in 4 years, I poured everything out. I felt protected and brave. I told him about Uncle Dan, how it started with touching, how it became rape, how his friends joined in, the threats, the fear, the pain. I cried until my throat was dry. The doctor cried with me and was so angry. Then he called the police. When the police arrested Uncle Dan that same evening, he didn't even deny everything at first. But in the station, he laughed and dropped a bombshell. He claimed that years earlier, my mother had borrowed 20,000 naira from him and could not pay back. So he told my mom to forget about the money, but decided to take it back in another way secretly. My mom thanked him and prayed for him without knowing he was just a devil. That was why my parents loved and trusted Uncle Dan, thinking he was God sent and would do no harm to us. My mom cried and kept on cursing Uncle Dan for what he did to me. She rolled on the floor and swore on her mother's grave that it will never be well with him. Even now at 24, when I remember the whole thing, it just doesn't make sense because of 20,000 naira. The same money you told my mom not to bother to pay back, but you still used it against her. Uncle Dan was just evil and was looking for an excuse to justify his action. Some relatives said I was enjoying it. That was why I never spoke out. How can a small girl like this have HIV? Others blamed my parents for leaving me alone too much. The church prayed for us, but the gossip spread like wildfire. The 3 men that abused me were charged. But you know Nigerian justice, they spent a few months in prison, came out on bail, and eventually the case dragged until he died. I don't know where they are now. Sometimes I still look over my shoulder. After the truth exploded, our family was never the same. My parents kept on apologizing to me for failing as a parent. I started taking ARV drugs. The hospital gave us support, but the stigma was terrible. In school, when the story leaked, children avoided me. Don't play with Linda, she has AIDS, they whispered. I dropped out for a while. My dreams of becoming a nurse or teacher died slowly. I hated men. Any man that came close, even uncles or pastors, I would freeze. I hated myself more. I was so traumatized. Every time I looked in the broken mirror in our room, I saw a dirty, broken girl. I used to stand outside at night, looking at the stars, asking God why he allowed it. Why me? What did I do wrong? Was it because I was too responsible? Because I helped my parents too much? Now I'm 24. I still take my drugs every night without missing it. I'm alive, thanks to God and the doctors. But living is different. I work as a sales girl in a small shop. I help my siblings. My brother is now in the university. My sister is in secondary school. They don't know the full details because they were young when all this happened. But they know how I suffered. I tried to date 1 or 2 men, but as soon as it gets serious, I pull back. How do I tell a man that I'm HIV positive? How do I explain my past? The fear of rejection is too much. I still have days when I blame my parents. If only they stayed home more. But then I remember they were hustling for us. They didn't know. The guilt, the anger, the self-hate is still here. Some nights I cry until morning. Other nights I feel strong, like I can overcome. I want to forgive, but I don't know how to. I want to love again, but I'm scared. This is where I am today, still carrying this heavy load. Sometimes I feel like ending it all so that the pain stops. Other times I remember my siblings and the people who have supported me, and I decide to keep going to prove that those monsters that abused me didn't win completely. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? Would you forgive your parents fully? Would you try to find those men and confront them? Can someone like me ever find real love and marriage? Should I tell my siblings the full truth one day, or should I just carry this pain silently till the end? Please, I'm begging you, drop your honest thoughts in the comment section. No judgment. I was only a child. Wow, things are happening. This world is so cruel. People are so mean. How can you be abusing your neighbor's child? A child who was just 8 years old. We adults should do better. We should do better. And this goes for both gender, men and women. Because even nowadays, men get abused. Women get abused. And parents, let's be very careful. Let's be very, very careful and pay attention to our children. No matter how busy we are, no matter how busy you are, please take care of your children. Watch them, listen to them. The signs might be there, but you just can't see it. I feel so sad for her. I just feel so sad, and I hope she heals. So what do you think about this story? Drop your thoughts in the comment section, and remember to like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Here I read out true life interesting stories. True life stories. Oh, these are not fake stories. These are true life stories. Share this video with your loved ones, okay? I'll see you on my next video. Bye.